This is a Headgum podcast.
Your choice of
doesn't
spot,
matter.
whatever you want.
Whatever feels comfortable. I mean, man, right there. Oh my God. I was
boy.
listening to Billy Joel.
That's
Preference? LaCroix is fine.
all right. I'll sit here then, or do you care?
Yeah, that's great. How's Marla doing?
She's good. Yeah, getting ready for school.
Next week?
Yeah. Nelini Stamp.
Yes.
Why don't you introduce yourself to everybody?
Yes. My name's Nelini Stamp.
Well, I think I established that. But, all right.
I'm originally from Brooklyn and Staten Island, New York. Wu-Tang forever. I always have to note my love for Staten Island. And I'm an activist and organizer. And I work at the Working Families Party. It's my day job.
Okay, cool. And then, and I know you through my wife,
Yep.
who's a factivist, which is a feminist activist. I just coined that, guys. Factivist. If you'd like it,
T-shirts. Put on T-shirts.
well, you got to clear it through me. But femactivist or factivist? Factivist, I think is better. So my wife is a factivist.
Yeah.
But you're more of an activist. You're more active in your
active.
Yeah.
On the scale of, It's a,
like you actually, your day job is
to organize people, to work in politics specifically, to recruit and find new candidates, and to get more people involved in movement and politics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Working Families Party is national.
Yep.
Not just here in New York.
Yeah, we're a national organization. We're in about now 20 states, which has grown from our New York origins in 1998.
When did it start?
1998. In June of 1998, the goal was to raise the minimum wage because it was $5.15 at the time, federally.
Crazy.
Yeah. And we got
it up to $7.
$7.15, yeah. $7.15. We got it up to $7, and it stood that way federally.
It's really, I know, Bernie Sanders, who I was a big supporter of, and I think my wife would have liked him if he were a woman, but he's not a woman; he's a man. So let's put policies aside. Let's go with the gender. And but he was always. It's amazing to me that some of these simple, basic truths, undeniable, didn't resonate more. Like the idea that there is a well-oiled, well-funded machine that's been in place for literally hundreds of years, that's only gotten stronger, where extremely rich people can convince struggling people that it's in their best interest not to get more money.
Yep.
Because they need it. It's amazing that it works.
And convincing them that the problem is someone who maybe doesn't look like them, as opposed to
that's a separate thing. That's a different.
Okay.
Yes, you're right, but that is a different thing from going to somebody in Macon, Georgia, and saying, "Do not vote to don't raise the minimum wage because it's going to make things more expensive, and the Chick-fil-A's are going to have to close down.
Eggs are going to be expensive.
Eggs are going to, and it's just garbage. It's just It's just not true. And if you wanted to make those things less expensive, you could make those things less expensive.
Yes.
And it's worked. It's worked for generations.
100%. I mean, this is,
It's Bernie Sanders was always mentioning that, but it just never really resonated with the right people, with the machine, the Democratic machine.
Yeah, with the machine. I mean, I think it resonated with a lot of folks, which is why they were frustrated.
Right.
In 2016, and some people stood out. Some people thought that Trump was the solution because he had a message that resonated with working class people, even if it was lies. And so, and it sucks. And also, I think that we've seen some shifts, which have been good. Some shifts have not been good in people's perception of class. Like I remember I was a part of Occupy Wall Street, and people were like, y'all are insane. There's not a problem with the economy. Like, the 1% is fine, like all of these things. And then, years later to have people talk about a $15 minimum wage, to talk about.
Well, who was saying, be more specific with who was saying Occupy Wall Street was, I know that there were some issues, but I felt, did you ever hear Doug Stanhope's bit?
Mm-mm.
It's absolutely brilliant. It is one of the best bits in a world of great, clever, smart takes on things. His whole bit about Occupy Wall Street is spot on, and I urge you to listen to it. Doug Stanhope. Oh, yeah. Genius. And anyway, I think a lot of the issue, and this was fed by and it bled over into journalists who were writing about, well, what do you want? What's your point? Because you got about 4 or 5 days left of goodwill, and then you guys are going to really overstay your welcome, right? Yeah. That kind of feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think that there was that part, and that was definitely a huge argument. Like, what are your demands? What are your, what are your goals? What are you here for? But a lot of folks also,
But what were the answers to that? Because outside of a handful of things, there weren't real practical answers.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, I think that there was, one, practicing direct democracy when none of us are really taught that way, and we're dealing with the problems of the world, like gender, all like different dynamics. Race is really hard, and we didn't know how to do that. Like, we didn't actually know how to discuss and debate in a constructive way.
Well, all right, okay, so let me ask, do you think in retrospect, I don't want to make this a binary choice, but the idea that perhaps, I mean, Occupy Wall Street was good because it stimulated a conversation and showed this thing could happen, but perhaps it was prematurely done.
I think about this like daily. Okay. This is like a thing that lives rent free in my head of like, what if it would have been 4 years later? Right?
No, how much rent would you charge for an idea? That seems crazy to me. And what is the payment, and how does that work?
I mean, this idea is always there, so it lives rent free.
No, I understand the words you said, but when you,
but how? What's I think I charge probably an average of like $5 for an idea.
Your own idea, and then do you pay yourself?
Yeah, in my imaginary bank.
You have a bank?
Yeah, I have an imaginary piggy bank.
So is it like a Venmo thing, or is it just...
No, it's just like an actual big piggy bank that like is like...
Oh, piggy bank.
Like from when I had when I was a kid, but it's just a huge one.
Wow.
Lives in my head. But I think that if it was 4 years later, like things could have been a lot different. I do think that for a lot of people, when I meet people these days in movement who maybe joined afterwards, whether it was from... Ferguson and Michael Brown shooting, or whether it was Women's March or stuff, like a lot of people say, I didn't get Occupy then, but I get it now.
Right.
Like I actually encounter a lot of people.
I got the anger and the sentiment, of course, but I just thought it was aimless. Yeah,
it was. And what was, because it was so distributed, some people did make aims. Like Occupy Our Home saved about 20 people, still not a lot, but from home foreclosure in Minnesota and in Georgia, where they were really successful at actually going up against SunTrust, going up against the big banks that were that were home to those states. And so there was, and then we also had
Georgia was sorry to interrupt, along that path of discussion. There was an act. I'm not going to remember the name. A company that was buying up housing.
Blackstone.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
And just booting people out.
Blackstone. Yeah.
It was, and of course it's highly unethical, but it's perfectly legal. Yeah. I mean, that's how America works.
Yep.
And if you want to do that, you can do that and make a lot. And those are the people who are saying, don't try to raise the minimum wage. You guys are going to screw yourselves.
Right.
All right. Do you like ranch Doritos? Because those are going away, my friend.
Right. They have corporate lobbyists who are talking to the Democratic machine and Republican machine, right? And they're like, hey, no, you can't do this. You can't do a rent freeze. You can't do eviction freezes, especially during the pandemic. They were the first ones.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to take advantage of people leaving their homes because they couldn't afford it because of the height of the pandemic. I mean, we're still in a pandemic, obviously, but the height of it in 2020 when we were inside a bunch, people couldn't afford. And even the most conservative governments, like it to me, like the Tories in the UK, the conservatives, they gave people like 8 months pay.
Well, but America's also the only one who doesn't do that.
Yes.
I mean, I was having this.
Their standards are different.
The bar is a different bar. They have an NHS. I know they're trying to get rid of it. The Tories are. Yeah. They will not be successful, and I'm not a huge Starmer fan, but he's
Corbyn.
He's certainly better than Corbyn just dropped the ball in numerous ways.
Yeah.
And he, it's like one of those things where the press in England or the UK is even worse than it is here. And it's bad here.
Yes.
But it's really bad there. And they walked all over him. They dictated every motherfucking thing. Yep. I know this is, to a lot of people listening or watching, this is the most minutiae. I'm invested. I'm a somebody who enjoys and avails themselves of news about politics and things like that. I hate most of the politicians and the whole way it works, but I'm fascinated by it, have been since I was young. And then I lived in the UK for several years and just immersed myself in that stuff. And it just in the way that I would. I'd read the paper, read the internet, whatever. And that's where I was living. Those are choices that affected me. And so I have followed it and continue to follow it. But Corbyn just really just let the press dictate every fucking thing about him.
Yeah, I got to spend a lot of time there. We had a bunch of exchanges with folks who were in Momentum, which was the group that got Corbyn elected within the Labour Party.
Right.
And we were just trying to show lessons learned because then after we had the Bernie Sanders moment and we were, Working Families had endorsed Bernie Sanders in 2016. And so we were having these cross the special relationship, but on the left, we would say. And there was just such momentum and such grassroots, people were so excited. People who had never volunteered before, and it just kind of went.
Yeah.
And that was really sad to see.
Well, there was also the legitimate, it needed context, but the anti-Semitic stuff is in, and people in his cabinet, it's not a cabinet there, it's the shadow government. Shadow government, but anyway,
but here they tell us, here and with Occupy, it's, to me again, I think it was a little bit too premature, and I still glorify in the things that we were able to do, which is shift conversations and inspire. We inspired the fast food workers for organizing. They started downstairs we had this office on Nevin Street and.
In Brooklyn.
And upstairs.
Far away from Wall Street.
Yes.
I'll occupy it, but I'm not going to occupy it.
Yes, exactly. I'll occupy it, but come on, we're on Flatbush and Nevin Street here. And, and downstairs is an organization that still exists, New York Communities for Change, that came from roots of Acorn years ago. And they inspired
another they managed to shut down Acorn.
That was our office, the video that was filmed in.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was downstairs where Project Veritas got all that footage.
Yeah, so completely. The guy's
spliced.
is he in jail or has he's been?
No, he was saying he was at the. Project Veritas is not a thing anymore, so that collapsed. But James O'Keefe.
Yeah, but didn't he? He was found guilty of a couple different things. Or am I thinking of the other guy, Jack Probasek?
I think you're thinking about Jack Probasek. Yeah, there's
But it's all bullshit.
Yeah, it's all bullshit, and it's all spliced, and it's all false information. Yeah. And that happened. Yeah, that happened below. I mean, that was my
but it worked.
Second year in politics, and it worked.
Dirty.
It worked. I mean, there was one year I had to sit in the.
Lee Atwater is smiling and he's in heaven. I know people think he's in hell, but he's in heaven.
Oh no! Not Lee Atwater in heaven.
Yeah, he's looking down, thumbs up, smiling.
He's like, "Good job, everyone. Yeah. You've completed my legacy. Keep going."
It's a different kind of heaven. He's
what kind of heaven is? There multiple heavens?
He's fucking B. Arthur. It's a different kind of heaven. Some people's heaven, some people's hell, whatever.
I mean, yeah, there was a moment where in that year I had to sit in front. We could not let anybody into our building without checking them and making sure that they were meant to be there and looking for people because that came and it just everyone just went, let's try to destroy Acorn. And even I was in the office.
A localized activist thing helping people. Nothing.
My aunties got their home because of mutual housing.
And there are people like, shut it down.
Yeah. We don't want more. It's like funny because sometimes, they're the democratic machine or, corporations are like, we want people to buy stuff. No, but not that way, right? Not with help, not with not with actually looking at the law and seeing which things that will aid you. They just want people to buy stuff.
Yeah, well, it's America.
And that's the.
Were you part of the faction at the DNC that subverted Bernie's chances and shifted everything to Hillary Clinton
in 2016?
Yeah.
No, we were. I mean,
I'm kidding. I don't.
I was like, no.
I don't really think that.
No, I was walking like a lost child in 2016. And you know what's really funny is and I don't think I've ever. I think I told Amber the story once, but when I first met Amber, I was like, because she was such a Hillary person, and
dude, she was. I'm sure she told you about some of the fights we had. I mean, serious arguments.
Because I met her in 2017 at the women's convention, and I've had my own things with Women's March and just feminist spaces in general because it's so devoid of class politics in a lot of ways, modern feminist space. There's no dialogue to really actually talk about class. And to me,
which is more important than anything globally in the whole world. The whole world would be better off. And that includes women, children,
people of color.
I mean, if a candidate who truly, they were passionate about that, and weren't beholden to other strings, the whole world would be better off. The things that you want will happen, but not through this lady. It's not going to happen with this lady.
I know. And I remember, I think she said, I thought this was a Hillary convention. And I went, And then I got to actually befriend her years later. And I was like,
Oh my God, we would have it fucking out.
I'm sure.
And she never took the bait on this, but I would say, especially when they're friends, and when I was out on tour, and she was doing a accompanying book tour. So any of the cities I was scheduled in to do shows, she would her book had come out, and she would schedule out stuff. So we were on tour together, which was awesome. It was really, really nice. And then she knows everybody. So and I'm antisocial and grumpy, and so we'd go somewhere. It didn't matter where, Richmond, Virginia, or
she knows
people there, right? So, and also people who were or friends of friends who were working to register voters or anything kind of
civic engagement, active,
benign, innocuous things, whatever, and. By far, I'd say 9 out of 10 of them were Hillary supporters, and I was very vocal about not. And I didn't like Hillary Clinton. I mean, I did not like the Clintons. I'm not a neoliberal. I don't believe
NAFTA
those
was
are
one
good
of the
policies.
Worst things that happened
for sure, and also she's a war criminal, I believe. I think I feel very, very strongly it hasn't gone away since after 9/11, but the people who knowingly voted to go to war in Iraq, knowing that all that stuff was bullshit, as we all knew. Well, all of us didn't know, but most people, have blood on their hands. Innocent, also women. American women didn't die, but unless they served, but plenty of other women and children died. So anyway, I'm going off. I'm digressing, but so I would say, in these conversations, I'd go, because I would say, I'm a social democrat. Here are the things that I believe are the best policies for America and the world. And I'd say, Amber is a neoliberal centrist. She's more of a centrist. She never took the bait. I probably tried it 20 times. Never took the bait. Never. But I was like, well, you're voting for a centrist, who's, policies have ruined lives. But yeah, I'm more of a social democrat. Spread stuff around. Yeah.
Never took the bait.
Never took the bait. Not once.
Oh wow. She's good like that.
Yeah. Eventually I stopped, but I kept trying.
You're like, I'm going to keep trying. Keep trying. I think that, this is the future of like what we're talking about. And even this whole, obviously things have changed and a lot of things have changed. And July was a full month of things.
Crazy.
It was, I felt like it was 10 years and just.
It was, you cannot dismiss, regardless of what you think of Harris and a lot of this is only because of the rival candidate. So
yes.
If it was, Romney, whatever.
Right.
It'd be like, boy, that's weird. Okay, I guess. Yeah. But the fire it lit under a lot of people what it did is, it's like any scene in a movie where people are coming out of the government has drugged them and people start, it's like coming out of Logan's Run. Remember when they come out and they're like, it's like they're all waking up going, oh shit, I feel better now. And it's not the solution, but it just made people who were like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
And I did a podcast with, what was the guy's name from Pod Save America? John
Favreau? Lovett?
Yeah, John Lovett. Mm-hmm. Very nice guy. Enjoyed. There's a little bit of conflict. I didn't know who he was, and I think he was like the first guy I had on that I had, or maybe the second person that I don't really know. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about, this is before the Harris switchover. Mm-hmm. I had been at the White House. I was I went there went to Washington as part of the Creative Coalition, which you can't say lobbies because that has a legal. So we were advocating different representatives of Congress to fund the arts. Mm-hmm. And we went to it was great. I'm so glad I did it. It was, everything surrounding it was kind of goofy, and I'm not a big, I was invited to the DNC and I said, no, I'm not, this is not my thing. I just can't, I was getting really anxious to a level where like something's wrong, with me. And I've had that before, and I'm gone to therapy. I'm on medication, but I was starting to get really, really like
I have had the same thing.
Anxious about this. I'm gonna drink too much, and I'm gonna fucking subvert myself. I'm gonna do something stupid and say something dumb because I don't like this. I don't like these people, and I feel weird, and it is creepy to me, and and you're all a bunch of fucking ass, whatever. So I didn't go. I said no. But the Creative Coalition, the thing that was there was a purpose, and it was a good thing that I was doing, and it actually worked. It was we were able to change some minds, and it was great. And I'm glad to be a part of it, and I would happily do it again. This was more about like, hey, take a picture with Tobias, and I had no interest in that. But
yeah, right.
So I was there, and while we were there, and there weren't a lot of people, I'm going to say, I'm going to guess like 30-ish, maybe. And we were in one of the color rooms, like the green room or the blue room, whatever, which are small, you know. And President Biden came in. And we're like, hey, President Biden's here. And it was, not maybe 3 times the size of this room. It was small. Yeah. And he starts talking, and I was talking to John about this, and I talked to some other people too afterwards who all had internally, all of us had the same experience like, oh my God, stop talking. You're going to say something really, like you could see he was on the verge of the thing that people were scared of. He's old and his brain is not as sharp. His ideas are fine. Right. His ability to get that from inside to outside is concerning. Yeah. And he even like, there was something, had something to do with the Iraq war that he said, and we were like, does he mean Iran? Or it was like a thing where like, and I'm just sitting there going, and I'm, mere feet away from him, and I'm going inside, and I'm just going, stop talking, please stop talking, stop talking. Yeah,
when I watched the debate, I was with a group of people. We were in LA at a retreat. And so we were like, let's go into the room and watch it. And then just like immediately.
That's really where you should watch all presidential debates is retreats, right? It's good for your soul. Yeah.
Retreats. And I'm going to be totally honest. I
appreciate your honesty.
He started and I had a mushroom chocolate and I took a little bit of it because that was the only way I was going to get through watching it. And I just was like, and then I was like, you guys, is this my mushrooms or is he actually? Yeah. And they're like, no, this is bad. And it was so, and it wasn't just the debate. There was lots of things that just added up to it. And in a moment I was like, I also feel that, and because even folks that I did not like Dianne Feinstein, did not like her policies, but sometimes I'm like, is this elder abuse? Like, why are we keeping
Well, no, I mean, she stayed in on her own accord.
Okay. I don't know if it was it was our team's thing, but.
Oh, no, I mean, both.
Yeah.
Yeah, there really does. This is, and I'm glad it happened because it is a thing that we need to discuss, especially we as a country, especially with the Supreme Court.
Yep.
Is you shouldn't, 90-year-olds shouldn't, Biden, I was pleasantly surprised by a bunch of his policies that I didn't see them happening, especially with such a tight Congress and
Manchin.
the ability, of Manchin and Sinema, and then things were decided sometimes by the vice president, single vote.
Yep.
That he was still able to get through. I mean, I think time will be very friendly to him. I really do, especially what he inherited, and then with COVID and all that shit. And it's a shame because the ideas are good, but he is not the right person. And then, and you could, the relief that also immediately translated to kind of a optimism and spark was, it was unlike anything I'd ever seen. I remember the closest I could say was, at least from a left's perspective, was Obama, beating Hillary.
Yeah.
And I think that was a surprise and
super surprise.
And like, oh, great, because he's a really good dynamic speaker. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just felt a sense of relief, like on every call that I was on afterwards too. Yeah. Like there was just, because everything happening, then the shooting happening, it just like, everybody.
If you were to script this thing.
Oh my God.
And then there's some kid, and the kid didn't even have an allegiance to anybody. He was a school shooter guy.
Yeah.
He's like an incel.
Yeah.
I'm just going to kill people.
The lone wild wolf. I'm reading too much shit on the internet that is probably false information. And he looked up both when he just went to the nearest one.
I don't even know if it's about. I don't. From the little I know, I don't think he was radicalized so much as.
Oh no!
But his whole thing was school shooter. Fuck you! I can't get laid.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
I'm going to take everybody out.
Yeah. Which is still on the internet. That's what I just mean. I don't think it was like he was. Because he looked up both of their addresses. Was like, this is the closest one. Like literally, that's what happened. This is the closest one. You cannot script this. Like,
it was.
The whole thing is so mind-boggling, and then to have the RNC come after it, they make it all about Biden.
Yeah.
And then it just.
And here's the thing: I don't feel I would. What's the word? I wouldn't feel sorry for them, but I would understand and empathize with their frustration. I mean, what happened was perfectly legal in this country and the way it works. But I can understand going like, what the fuck? We spent all this. Now you're going to switch it up?
All of our campaign plans are about this.
But they had been saying for, months.
Yeah.
Like, Biden's not even going to make it. The old man's not going to make it. They're probably going to have to replace. They've been saying this for months. Yes. So they should have had a plan in place. And it's shocking that that it happened, and they're still like trying to throw out nicknames and see what sticks. I mean, it's amazing they had no plan for the thing they had been saying is going to happen.
Have been saying this, like they'd be like, "Oh yeah, he's not going to even make it. Well, we'll even see who it is. Like, they have to do this, they have to do that, and then all of a sudden, and then still to this day,
I don't feel bad. I mean, the shred of empathy I'd have for like, man, that's a tough situation to be in. I don't like your guy, but that's kind of fucked up. But no, that's all gone. I mean, I don't have.
It's just like, and also I don't think that they realized the Project 2025 stuff was going to hit.
Yeah,
because that also was hitting at the same time, and so they got completely flat-footed, and it's still like, I mean, look, it is still going to be. I mean, it's nothing is guaranteed.
Zero
is guaranteed, and
it's an electoral.
It is,
if it was popular vote, just like last time.
Yep, if it was popular
or the
vote,
last two times, I should say.
Right, nothing is guaranteed, and if we're looking at everything and especially the past like 10 years, like we do not know if there's going to be one judge somewhere. I mean, I don't even want to say things because but like, so nothing is guaranteed, but to see them so flat-footed, to see them. Even just like the in my another rent-free image is just JD Vance with like, he had Kamala behind him, but it said something like negative about her, and IATSE was like, this is why you have IATSEs, because
I saw that.
It basically only said, it looked like he was rallying for Kamala, but it said something bad about her underneath. Just like, you can't make this stuff up. That continues to happen. And they look flat-footed, but again, nothing is guaranteed. So I'm just, and they're like,
no, they've already got things and have had things in place.
And October surprises happen, and I'm just,
forget that. It's all about the statewide, federal, the statewide election certification.
Yep, certifications. Yep, and so December is going to be December's going to be
it's going to be ugly.
It's going to be a month. It's going to be a month, and my
whatever happens. Look, I got dual citizenship. I'm out of here.
Oh, that's nice. That's real nice. I should have got it when I had the chance.
I'm going to Laborland, and Hey guys, want to learn a new language? Well, the best way is to uproot your entire life, drop yourself in the middle of a new country, and figure it out from there. But if you're not ready for that, you can still learn a language the next best way. That's with Babbel. Speak like a whole new you with Babbel, the science-backed language learning app that gets you talking. Wasting hundreds of dollars on private tutors is the old school way of learning a new language, and Babbel's 10-minute lessons are quick and handcrafted by over 200 language experts. Ready to get you talking your new language in 3 weeks. Or 3 weeks. Because talking is the key to really knowing any language. Designed by real people for having real conversations, Babbel gets you talking. Babbel's tips and tools are grounded in the real-life stuff you'll actually need. Everything is focused on conversation, so you'll be ready to talk whenever you go, and wherever you go. Not necessarily whenever. So, evening? Sure. but also where. Hey, don't just take my word for it. Studies from Yale, Michigan State University, and beyond continue to prove Babbel works. Now, one study found that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a full semester at college. With over 16 million subscriptions sold, Babbel's 14 award-winning language courses are backed by a 20-day money-back guarantee, so no pressure. Here's a special limited-time deal for our listeners. Right now, get up to 60% off your Babbel subscription, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/senses. Get up to 60% off at babbel.com/senses, spelled BABBEL.com/senses. Rules and restrictions may apply. No, it's going to be ugly either way.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
You know, and Harris isn't a panacea, but it's just not this. The other thing that's so shocking to me, I shouldn't say shocking, it's infuriating because people ascribe him with this kind of manly macho thing, and he's the biggest pussy whining little bitch I've ever seen in politics.
100%.
On local level, national level, he's a fucking whiny little bitch.
I mean, I grew up with him here in New York as a figure.
Yeah.
You know, and I was just like, who is this? Like,
the guy wears a fucking spray tan.
Right.
He has flats.
The comb over.
He has comb. I mean, he's the most. He's the opposite of this thing, this tough guy. And, you know, they'll make memes, and he's a superhero, and he's Rambo, and no, he's not.
The
he's
gold
a fucking
statues of him. I'm like,
fat,
what are you doing?
Whiny little bitch.
He's so whiny, and he complains about everything. And he, you know, anything is, well, they didn't do that. They didn't do this. And it's just like, it's like a bad Rodney Dangerfield skit. Like, it's just like, it's terrible. It's
right,
like,
so where do you go from here, regardless of what happens?
I mean, look, at the end of the day, I want the best organizing terrain for organizers and for people, because just because someone wins, especially when they have a D next to their name, doesn't mean that we're going to get.
Oh, no.
Right?
That's why I was saying I was kind of politely surprised that a lot of these things that Biden actually got done.
Right.
Like, again, it's not. And there's always going to be people and corporations that try to subvert things, and Supreme Court actions that subvert those things that hey, look what we're going to do.
Right. But I do think that it was on all fronts. Like, coming into politics in 2008, everybody was just kind of like, a lot of organized forces, whether it was organized labor or stuff, everybody was kind of like, healthcare is the thing. And so and there wasn't a lot of attention to all these other issues that, because of the financial crisis, because of the Great Recession, were unfurling, like housing, like, right? And so everybody was so focused on healthcare, but in 2020, so many people were focused on so many things, and that organized force continued. And so that's also why there was also an organized force still advocating for climate, for, you know, for police reform, for all of that stuff after Biden got elected, which gives you space as a politician to move things, right? Like, when you have organized people who are demanding more, who are demanding these, you know, demands, when you have labor saying we want the, like, Protect the Right to Organize Act to be able to organize more labor unions in this country, you might not get that. We haven't got that yet, but you get a better NLRB, right? The National Labor Relations Board. You get rules changes to actually make it so that labor can advocate more. And so I think, to me, the biggest thing is that I fundamentally believe that, like, if, you know, hopefully when, you know, Vice President Harris wins, then
well, you know,
I said hopefully, but, you know.
We said hopefully when.
When we hopefully win, we continue to put pressure and organize. And if, unfortunately, she loses, we need to, I mean, I think there's a lot of things that we need to take a look at, but also we still need to stay organized. And what I think is really important is that we don't make it, I think in 2016, one of the biggest mistakes the movement made was that it became all about identity, and we did lose class again.
Oh, for sure.
It just, like, all of these things that popped up.
Oh, yeah.
I really felt like a lost
Don't get me started, Nelini. Yep.
It's just like, I was like, what is everybody doing? Like, and it's not that, yes, of course, like, my dad's an immigrant. He was not, you know, he didn't have papers. Of course I care about these things. I'm not like, right? It's not that I don't care, but if we if we just do we're just playing into what the right wing uses to divide us. We are playing into
100%.
what millions of people, and the reality is like, we even did a study that we did a working class study, and that most people care about housing right now.
Yeah.
In this country. So like, if I mean, I will lose my actual shit if everybody starts to, like, that's when I'll really be like, F it, I don't have the power, but I'm canceling you. Like,
You think,
I will
like when you say, so like diarrhea or when you,
I think my head might actually combust. Like, I might spontaneously combust. Like I
don't think that's going to happen.
I can't go back to that. I can't go back to just like identity issues and parades. Like, I just can't go back to that.
Oh man, that should be a bumper sticker. Identity issues and parades. 2024.
It's I'm gonna make a little lawn sign for my lawn now. Like, but I can't go back to that.
Okay, so let me.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? You can't go back? What does that mean for you and the people like you and the activists?
Right now,
which are many.
Right now is like, what I'm doing is anything in my power, and Working Families Power, and the communities that I also organize with outside of that, to elect Harris, and also to plan. Like, scenario.
What I'm saying is, should that not happen, what does I'm over it mean to you?
Oh yeah. Well, to me, it just means that, like, actually having those hard conversations with people and being like, no, like, we gotta, like, class is the thing, and also if they steal it, ready to just do things that are probably more radical in action.
Take up arms.
Oh no. I mean, that I just.
Well, they will, so you better.
I know they will. I think that for me, it's,
we got a preview not too long ago.
I know we got a preview. I mean, look, I definitely have gone to I'm a good shot. I go to the shooting range, and the years that I lived in Georgia, it taught me I needed.
Where'd you live in Georgia?
I lived in Atlanta. I lived in Lakewood.
Oh, okay, that's where I'm from. Not Lakewood, but
for a couple. Yeah, no, I know you are. For a couple years, I lived down there in 2014, and
Can I if things are really
bad,
sketchy, bad, whatever, can I make a recommendation?
Sure.
And I don't just say this to you, I say this to everybody. Yeah. Go to officialdavidcross.com and check out my tour, which is called The End of the Beginning of the End Tour.
Yeah.
All the dates will be there. Got 44, I believe, cities, towns in America, Canada, and then Canada, then Europe, UK, and then back here for some more. So there'll be about 100 shows. Oh. So take a look. I'm not cheating anybody out of it. I don't go up there and do 48 minutes and walk off. I'm doing a full show.
No,
I've
been to your show.
Special guests.
Yeah,
and
you did a good one.
Did you go to a show?
I went with Amber and Phil, and
that's right.
Yeah, Philly. The last tour.
Oh, that was a bad show. That was not a good show. Yeah, Philly's not great. I've done a number of shows over the years, over the decades, and Philly is
just never the hit.
It's
all
just.
Right, I got to see you in a different. Okay, you tell me where. You tell me where this time.
Wait, yeah, because we went to that place.
Yeah.
Wasn't that where the what do you call it? The swingers couple, the porn guys?
Yeah. There was like this whole thing. Yeah.
That guy's story was fucking fascinating. He was a military guy.
Yeah.
And his girlfriend or wife, I don't remember. They were young. Oh God, I've only got little pieces of it. It was quite the night. But he's like a sex worker guy.
Yeah.
And then his girlfriend, they do stuff together.
They can not get contracted together, but they'll do work together.
Yeah. And but his whole story was fascinating. And he wanted to do stand up. He was curious about doing it in a show. And I was like, fuck yeah, man. If you did a one-man show about this would I mean, just what you've told me, and then you get somebody to help you punch it up. I mean, you've put this together. This will be a really amazing show, and you'll do, I think, very well. But Who knows where he is now? Probably.
Well, if you're out there,
probably going down on somebody. Who knows? I don't know.
Look, it's work, right?
In this economy?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, yes, I do remember hanging out. There was, was Clark there?
This Clark? No.
Clark! Clark!
Is Clark still there?
There he is.
Oh, he's running here.
How's it going?
Good.
All right.
Are you guys on air still? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were just talking about, I met Nelini through my wife, and they were at a show, not a good show, Sean Patton and I did in Philly. And then we were talking about the people who were there, and I was like, was Clark there?
No.
No, she already said no.
I did live in Philly for a second, though. So
Well, nobody gives a shit about that. That wasn't a question. That was not... Okay, great. Now what?
Okay. Leave you guys to it.
All right, thank you.
Need a water?
No, I'm good. I got
Thank you. But wait, you didn't finish. So go to your show.
Go to my show.
Regardless of what happens.
Yeah, and you'll feel better for at least,
That's good.
90 minutes, if not longer. You'll forget about your cares. You'll laugh.
Oh, I love that.
And part of $2 from every ticket goes to, I always do a donation thing. Last time it was, what was it last time? Justice for people who are wrongly accused. That's a clunky way of, but this one is for Check My Ads. Are you familiar with them?
No.
Oh, they're great.
Check My Ads?
Check My Ads is, they are working to make these huge companies, right? Google and all of the search engines and all the people and Meta and who put advertising to make sure they're aware of and to stop these awful sites that are on there that are just, spew hatred, anti-Semitism, neo-Nazis, right-wing, people who advocate, abusing women. And so a lot of these companies are not aware through the algorithm of what and these companies are like Nabisco. Like, do you want to be affiliated with literally the Klan?
Neo-Nazis,
and so they're very good at cracking through the algorithm and pointing that out, because then they've been very effective where people they're somewhat behind the, hey, just so you know, Sleepy's mattresses are advertising on Tucker Carlson's other page, which he, whatever the thing is.
However they,
and it's linked to this, which is linked to that, which is linked to that. So just so you know, you guys are helping support whatever the thing is. So check my ads.
That's great.
And they're total just started with 2 women. And let's not hold that against them. They were born the way they were, okay? And we all can't be men who are smarter and stronger.
Oh, God.
And these 2 really great women and now they've got more of a staff and stuff, and they could use the help. But they're great. What they do is really
awesome. I mean, that's
great.
super needed.
Another reason to go to the show. OfficialDavidCross.com has all the dates. Check it out. The end of the beginning and the end tour. Nelini, is there anything you'd like to send people to look at?
I mean, look, check out workingfamilies.org. You can find out, because I think one of the big things, too, we've talked a lot about, but local politics is really, really important.
Yep.
Who your city council, who your mayor
globally,
is.
Act locally.
And so you can, next week, after the Labor Day holiday, we will have our...
Well, let's not tell. We don't. This is a magical thing where we don't know when it's happening. Could be happening right now.
It could be happening right now.
Because Labor Day was awesome. What'd you do for Labor Day?
I went to the West Indian Day Parade. It was great. check out workingfamilies.org. We will have, if you put in your zip code, you will find out all of our locally endorsed candidates and also ballot initiatives, because those are important too. Abortion's on the ballot in a lot of states, and reproductive freedom as well. But also There are so many local elections.
So if I go, there's a ballot if I tick off one of the boxes, I can have an abortion.
You have to consult your doctor with that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Seems like an extra step.
Yeah. I mean, maybe a state senator will join you in your doctor appointment,
Absolutely. I like
to
that.
make sure that everything is really good.
Let's get the gay guy from Montana in there. Larry
there you go.
Craig, was that his name?
Oh, I forgot his name.
The wide stance guy?
Yeah.
I have a wide stance.
Wide stance. But yeah, you go onto the website and you put in your zip code and you'll find all of our endorsed candidates and ballot initiatives and find out what it is, locally that's going on, because you're going to hear so much noise about presidential, and there's just so much that you can decide on locally, and those are really by a few votes. It doesn't have to do with an electoral college. You're not dealing with that. Those are really decided by a few hundred votes. So
it's the down ballot.
Down ballot. Down ballot.
For it.
Down ballot. I feel like we need to rename it though, because down just seems like not
it's degrading.
Yeah, it's degrading.
It seems lesser
I look
than
down upon you.
Lesser
down
than
ballot.
The other ballot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it also is literally down. It
literally is.
Bottom.
Yes.
So maybe.
Well, actually, some places.
I guess if you have enough, and then you turn the page.
Yeah. In California, there's 15 different.
Up ballot. Up at the top.
Yeah, California.
Page 2.
Don't folks vote in 50 pages because they vote for everything in California?
But California, so I was.
I've never voted in California, so that's.
I did,
okay.
And it was open primary, open party. So I was registered as an independent. And it's one of those things when I moved to New York and in order to vote in the primary, had to register as a Democrat, and it still bothers me because I'm not a fucking Democrat.
You're
Fuck
it's still a little fairy dies inside.
But in order to, try to get Bernie Sanders on the.
Yeah.
Didn't do a lot of good.
Yeah.
And I also vote in upstate in Sullivan County, where my vote goes a little further.
Yes. We love that.
Okay.
Love a good Sullivan County.
Nelini Stamp, thank you and yours. Now, I end every podcast by asking a question from my daughter, Marlo.
Oh, okay.
And here is
she called me a makeup artist the last time I saw her, and I was very
a makeup artist.
She said, "Are you a makeup artist?" And I said, "No." She was like, "Your makeup looks very pretty." I was like, "Whoa,
oh.
That was a very big compliment."
Clark. Clark. Where is he?
I don't know.
There he is. Hey, so my daughter complimented the last time she saw Nelini on her makeup. What do you think of her makeup?
I think it looks great. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't have to say that.
Okay.
I know I don't. I wouldn't if I didn't.
Okay, guys.
Okay, what's the question from Marlo?
I'm going to ask you too, Clark. Step in. I end every podcast with a question from my daughter, who's 7. And I'm going to allow you to jump in here. Wow, we're running. Okay. Here's your question from Marlo. Why is lightning attracted to metal? She wants to know.
Ooh.
Why is lightning attracted to metal?
Why is lightning attracted to metal? Good question, and I failed science.
You failed lightning school?
I failed lightning school.
Clark, you got any?
Harry Potter. I'm just kidding.
Where you go? What are you doing? Where are you?
Something because I know it's also attracted to water. So I'm currently trying to find.
Yeah, I thought that's what sand makes.
What does metal and water have in common?
Oh.
Not to answer the question with another question, but that's where I'm going.
Well, a lot of the same letters. You got a T, an E, an A.
Is there an E?
In metal?
Lightning?
Oh no! I thought you meant metal and water.
Yeah, sorry.
And what are those?
Why is it attracted to metal?
A, T, and E are your common letters. That's T or 8, right? So, or your ETA, estimated time of arrival. So, let's do the QAnon thing.
Right.
So you got 8 T
and
an estimated time. So what time are you going to eat your tea? Tea is also euphemism for like 60s cannabis. So what time are you getting high?
After this, I don't know.
Well, there's your
5
answer.
p.m. tonight.
There's your answer. I will tell you this. I discovered recently that that lightning is not attracted to metal. Metal is a conduit which makes it spread, quickly, and it doesn't seek metal out. It will seek whatever's right there, whatever the tallest thing is. So that is a bit of a myth buster.
I always knew the lightning and the sand thing.
That makes glass.
Yeah, that was my fun fact when I was a kid.
All right, guys. Thank you,
Thanks
Clark.
so
It was a
much.
pleasure to have you in this room. Your presence was felt. Your absence was felt even more.
I'll be here.
Enough. It's not your mic. And we'll see you all next time here on Sense. All right. Bye.
Bye.
That was a Headgum podcast.